Welcome to this week's Wellness Wednesday. And this week we have the second in our three-part series with Julia Alderman, who is one of the nutrition team here at the Optimum Health Clinic. And we're exploring supplements and particularly our kind of way of working with and understanding supplements here at the Optimum Health Clinic. And in today's episode, we're talking about, are supplements safe and do supplements work? And we'll be exploring particularly some things around types of supplements, source of supplements, quality of supplements, and why those things can be really important. If you haven't already watched the first part, it was the previous Wellness Wednesday episode, and we talked about, is diet alone enough and why supplements can play an important role. So here is Julia Alderman. Hi, Julia. Welcome to this video. Thank you for joining
us. Hi, Alex. Hi.
So in this video, we're talking about, do we absorb nutrients from supplements and are they safe? And I think there can be quite a lot of scaremongering that can go on around supplements, that people kind of, read kind of cases of people that have had reactions, or they hear about, this supplement is 2,000 times a recommended daily allowance and that must be some kind of terrible thing. So maybe just start off a little bit around absorption, and do we absorb from supplements?
Yeah, thanks. And the answer is really, it depends. So it's not a yes, no thing. I think it very much depends. It depends on the quality of the supplement, the form of the supplement, and the condition of the digestive system and whether it is being absorbed. So on the market out there, there's just such a huge range of supplements, and the quality and form is really important. So often we would look for ones that are liquids or powders where possible, as they tend to be the ones that are easiest to absorb, compared with capsules and tablets, which are fine if digestion and absorption is working well. But for those where digestion is very impaired, then we'd definitely look more towards the liquids and powders first. If someone's digestion is very compromised, you may also look at things like transdermal supplements, where you absorb them across the skin. So you're actually bypassing digestion. So we've got the form that the supplement comes in there. And then also, when you actually look at what's inside a supplement, some supplements have lots of fillers. So they may have actually quite a small amount of a nutrient and lots of fillers in it. So that's something that needs to be considered. And then also looking at the actual form of the nutrient. So if we take something like magnesium, for example, there's a whole range of types you can get. So you can, for example, you have magnesium malate, glycinate, citrate, taurate, oxide, and which one we use will depend on what we specifically want it for. And some of those are going to be better absorbed than others. So magnesium oxide, for example, is not particularly well absorbed, so that wouldn't be one that we would tend to recommend. Although it might be quite good for constipation or something, but for trying to raise blood levels of magnesium, it most definitely wouldn't be a first choice.
And I think one of the challenges can be that people will get a list of supplement recommendations, and they'll then think, oh, but I can get this cheaper at my kind of at Tesco's or my local health food shop. And it isn't always the case with supplements, but it is often the case that one gets what they pay for. And as you're saying, you can get something which is almost pointless and it will just simply will not have the effect. Or sometimes it can have harmful effects because of fillers and binders or other things that are in there. And so part of our expertise, I say our expertise, I mean nutrition department's expertise, giving myself too much credit, but part of the expertise that you guys have is the kind of the researching and the understanding of different products, of what really is of the kind of quality that it needs to actually be effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also add to that, I think sometimes patients might come to us and say, well, I've tried that before and it didn't have any effect. But when they tried the same supplement, so take the example of magnesium again, if they try magnesium again, but actually it's in a different form, in a different dosage, the effect is then felt. So it's quite a science in working out what supplements to take for each person.
And there's also, I think worth saying that we're not just prescribing or recommending a supplement and then leaving it there. We're also often informed by test data. So there's a kind of justification behind that. And we then will be testing that and over time and seeing the impact on the body. So people are not just blindly taking supplements for no reason. We're actually being quite clinical and quite measured in that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in terms of whether supplements are absorbed, I would say based on test results, yes. So with clients, we will tend to test nutrients before and after supplements, and we will see those blood tests change and deficiencies be corrected, which is very much the proof that, yes, the supplements are having the desired effect.
And I think it's also kind of leads on to kind of actually, I think a point that's worth me making as well is that people sometimes say, well, why don't we in these videos give supplement recommendations or give kind of mini protocols that people can follow? And there's a very clear one of a number of reasons why we don't do that. One of those reasons is that people can actually take far too much of something, or taking something that you don't need can actually cause almost more problems than not having something that you do need. So maybe just say a little bit about the kind of the considerations around people kind of designing their own protocols based upon what they've read on the internet, or they've read in books, or they've heard on kind of summits sort of thing.
Yeah. I think, like you say, because people can self-prescribe, supplements are considered to be safe, but need to remember that they're very, very powerful. And like you say, too much of something can be quite detrimental. And we also need to consider medication as well. So a lot of supplements will be contraindicated with certain medications because it may have a combined effect, or it may actually change how that medication is being metabolized. So if you take example for antidepressants, for example, certain contraindicated supplements would include things like 5-HTP, St. John's wort, which would also increase serotonin, which if serotonin then became excessively high, that would be detrimental. And also medications such as warfarin, there are lots of supplements there that are contraindicated. So things like grapefruit, vitamin K, licorice, ginger, garlic. So it's really, really very individual, and anybody who's on any form of medication should really check with a practitioner to see if the supplements they're taking are safe to take. And yeah, that is a key consideration.
Yeah, and in fact, one of the things that I think we often find is if someone's been kind of self-medicating supplements, like they've read something in a book, they've heard something on a summit, a friend has said, I took this, or they've been on a kind of Facebook group, people, oh my God, people often end up taking a lot of stuff, and they come in, and sometimes what we'd end up doing in a first consultation is actually just reducing stuff that they're taking to take away that extra load and burden on the body. And sometimes it can recommending supplements can actually end up being more expensive. Apart from the fact it's often not effective, it can also end up being more expensive than working with a practitioner who can be much more strategic in terms of what you actually need to be taking.
Yes, absolutely. I think as well as people coming to the clinic with great long lists of supplements, I think also often those are supplements that they have taken for a very long time. I mean, we're talking maybe 5, 6, 7 years on the same supplements, which is certainly not something that we would recommend at all.
Yeah, unless there's a very clear case, like a cryptopyrrole example,
Yeah.
someone is probably going to need a lifetime of a certain amount, although the
Yeah.
dose may be able to come down over time if it's being kind of tested and there's a kind of eye on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So thank you, Julia. So there'll be a third part to this where we're going to look at, I think, perhaps one of the most important themes. I think one of the areas that we've got a painful amount of experience, which is supplement sensitivities. So a lot of people with chronic fatigue, ME, fibromyalgia can be super sensitive. So we'll talk in that video about how we manage that. But for now, Julia, thank you.
Thanks.
I hope you found that episode helpful. Please do look out for next week's episode. We're going to be talking specifically about how we work with supplements here at the Optimum Health Clinic. I think particularly relevant for people that tend to have reactions to supplements and have perhaps struggled to use the protocols that they know could well be important and helpful for them. If you want to find out more about working with Julia or one of the team of nutritionists here at the Optimum Health Clinic, please do go to theoptimumhealthclinic.com. You can request a free information pack, and you can also book a free 15-minute chat to talk to Julia or one of the team about your case. Tomorrow it's Thoughtful Thursday here on Everyday Alex, and I'm going to be doing a bit of a follow-up to the Mindful Monday I did this week, where I talked about this phrase of where the mind goes, energy flows. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that from a kind of Thoughtful Thursday perspective, I guess. Rather than it just being part of the guided meditation, I wanted to break down a bit more what I mean by that. So I look forward to talking with you tomorrow.